Hi, my name's Alex and I'm a designer, artist and crafter who loves all things music and pop culture related. Today I'll be showing you how to make Winnie, this adorable watermelon bee. She's the second bee design in a range of cute bees that I'll be creating tutorials for, so keep an eye out for more designs coming soon. Now this version of Winnie I've made using milk cotton yarn that I bought on eBay. You can also buy it through Aliexpress as well. It's very affordable, and even though it does split a little bit when you're crocheting, it crochets up so beautifully, so soft, and a nice alternative to cotton. The things you'll need to make Winnie are some yarn in red, white, two different greens and black, a crochet hook, scissors, darning needle, polyfiber fill, two safety eyes, and alternatively you can use felt to make the eyes, and optional you could use a stitch marker, embroidery thread for the mouth, and felt and fabric glue. Now today I'm going to be using Portercraft blanket chenille yarn, which I bought on eBay, also available through AliExpress, and a 7mm hook. The colours are red, mint, shamrock, black and white, and this yarn is very equivalent to the Bernat blanket yarn. So for those who like to use that yarn and it's readily available for you, it's not for me, but if you can get that'd be a lovely yarn to use. So on to round one. So we're using the red yarn, we're creating a magic ring and working 6 single crochets in that magic ring. Now don't join the yarn when you get to the end of your 6 single crochets, because I'm going to show you a trick that you're going to thank me for later. So we're just going to tighten the magic ring a little bit, not too tightly, until we join our yarn onto the beginning of the first single crochet that we created. We've got that little V that forms at the top of your crochet stitch, and we're just going to slip stitch into the very back of that top loop. So you've got 2 top loops there. We're going into the back, picking up the yarn and just slipping it through the stitch that we have on our hook. Now we're going to go through both of those top loops now to create our very first single crochet for round 2. So it's 1 and 2, so it's 2 stitches in the same place, which is also known as an increase. Good time to tighten up the magic ring now and draw in that center to make it nice and tight and closed. So all stitches around here, all 6 stitches around, we're going to be doing 2 single crochets into each stitch, or 6 increases. And at the end of that round, you will have 12 stitches. Now to join into that back loop of that very first single crochet in round 2. And now we're ready to start round 3. So single crochet and then an increase, which is the 2 single crochets in that same stitch space. We're going to do that 6 times round, which will give 18 stitches at the end of round 3. So we've got the 2 different versions of Winnie that I've shown you in this video. I'll also give you some other suggestions in the description below this video. So say for example you want to use Red Heart Super Saver yarn, which is a great yarn to use, readily available, very affordable, and you get a good color choice. I'll put the size of the hook that you'll need for that particular yarn and a couple of other yarns in the description just to help you out. Now we're on to round 4, which is 2 single crochets and then an increase, and we do that 6 times round, which will give you 24 stitches in total. Now on to round 5, and that's 3 single crochets and an increase. We do that 6 times round, which gives you 30 stitches in total. For round 6, it's 4 single crochets and an increase, 6 times round, giving you 30 stitches. And on to round 7, 5 single crochets and an increase, 6 times round, giving you 42 stitches. Now at this stage I noticed that with that chenille yarn, the front of the bee was looking a little bit pointed, more pointed than using a different type of yarn. Don't worry about that too much because it will stretch out. Once you put the fibre fill in it, it will stretch out and become much more rounded. So don't panic if your bee is doing that. On to round 8, we've got 6 single crochets and an increase, and we repeat that pattern 6 times round, giving you 48 stitches. And on to round 9, 7 single crochets, 1 increase, again 6 times round, giving you 54 stitches. Now round 10 is our last round of increasing. So that is 8 single crochets and an increase, 6 times round, giving you 60 stitches. From here, it's pretty much just single crochet until we get to the decreasing right near the behind. So it's a lot more simpler from here. Just wanted to use this opportunity to let you know too that I've got a whole lot of different bee patterns coming up that I'm very excited to share with you. So if you're enjoying this project, keep an eye out for some of the really cute fun projects I've got in the future for you. You can never count your stitches and rows too many times, and trust me, this is so true. So I'm just taking a bit of a time out here to count my last few stitches, groups of stitches that I've done, and also my rows so that I know where I'm up to. So we know we've done 10 rows of the red. We've got 2 more to do, and then we're going to start changing over to do that lovely lush green outer skin of the watermelon. Rounds 11 and 12 are simply single crochet all the way around, giving you 60 stitches. Now we're finished with the red. I just want to show you how much yarn there is left. It's actually quite a bit, considering that it's not a very big ball of yarn, and possibly enough to make another Winnie if I wanted to. Now we're on to the white. So we're just going to show you here how well that transition join, that magic transition, is actually coming up underneath the bee. You can see there those stripes are nice and straight and aligned, which is what we want to see. So we're just going to join the white by using the very last stitch of that round, of round 12. And by pulling through that white yarn on that last, very last stitch of round 12, we're going to already change that colour, ready for round 13, and it makes for a much smoother transition of colour. It's very hard to pick when you have a look at the finished bee, how that colour transitions onto the round. So again, we're just doing single crochets in the white for rounds 13 and 14. Nice and simple, and I'll see you back after we finish those rounds. For round 15, we're going to transition to the pale green yarn by pulling that through the top loops on that very last stitch of round 14. Now we're joining and creating our very first single crochet of round 15 in the green. Now that rounds 15 and 16 are simply single crochet round, giving you 60 stitches. Now we change over our yarn to the darker green yarn for rounds 17, 18 and 19, which are all single crochet around, giving you 60 stitches for each of those rounds, and I'll see you back after you've done those. So after you finish that green round, it's time to get on to making the face. And Winnie has lots of options for the face. I'm using the safety eyes, which are a 1 inch or a 25-26 millimeter safety eye for this bigger bee. But you could also use felt for the small one. I've used a 12 millimeter or 1/2 inch safety eyes. We're also going to make the antennas, put the seeds on, the little smile, and then we'll keep going with the bee's body. So just make sure you've got all your bits and pieces here. You're going to need some black yarn as well. I'll start by putting the eyes in the right place. So what I do is fold what you've crocheted so far of Winnie's face, fold it in half with the join at the very bottom so that you can keep that underneath the bee's body. I'm just using my darning needle just to position, like make a little mark as to where halfway is, so that when I keep the face flat, ready to put the eyes on, I've got that darning needle and it's kind of central and I know which way is the correct way to face it. So I count out 5 stitch rows to put in my very first eye in place. don't put the back on yet, because this is where things can go very wrong. Once you put the backs on those safety eyes, they are really hard to get off. So counting across, and 5 rows. Was that 5 rows? I don't know, we'll find out. And popping them just into place to have a look, making sure that it is in line with the middle ring, with that magic ring, and that we're keeping our joins at the very bottom. Double check, triple check your placement before securing your eyes, because these are tricky things to fix up. Look, so there you go. I put an eye in one row to the right instead of to the left. I had 4 rows out instead of 5. So I double checked, made sure I was happy with it. And now time to put the backs on those eyes and secure them into place. Now to move on to his little smiley mouth. I'm using the milk cotton yarn that I showed you earlier, because it's a little bit thinner than the chenille, just to do that little cute mouth. And I think if the yarn's too fat, too thick, it doesn't have the same effect. So just threading my darning needle, and I'm going to go in and just use that curve, the natural curve of that very first round, to create his little smiley mouth. Now, you probably notice with the other version of Winnie, the smaller one, I've used the second round out. So just have a play around with it and see what sort of expression you want your Winnie to have, and then secure it into place. So I'm just using 3 little stitches over the top of my little smile, just to keep it in place, bringing the yarn back through to very close to where I started off. And then I can tie that into a knot, or 2 or 3 if you know me. I'm a bit funny like that. I'm into knots and I'm into sticky tape, so just watch out. So yeah, I don't want things to come undone. If I don't want things to come undone, I get a little bit carried away. So tie a couple of knots and just make sure it's all secured and you're happy with where it's placed, and trim your yarn. But seriously, Winnie's smile is there forever. And what a cute little smile she's got too. Okay, now it's time to move on to making the antennas, or antennae, which is, I don't know what it is about this, but I really enjoy this little project. I don't know what it is, but hey, even though you'll see I probably struggle with it sometimes, but it's just one of those fun things. Cut 2 lengths of black yarn, 50 centimeters or 20 inches. Don't cut it any shorter than that. You need to give yourself a bit of length there to work with. And I'm using the black chenille yarn, so it's nice and thick and fluffy. And half each of those 2 lengths, and put a slip knot in it. And we're going to chain 6 stitches using both lengths of the yarn. So if you use your thumb and another finger just to pinch that slip knot so that it stays there in place, so that you can grab those other 2 lengths of yarn and pull them through to do a chain using both lengths of the tail, I guess, of the tail of the yarn. Struggle, struggle. Doesn't look like I'm having fun, but I am having fun. I love this bit. So you want to pull through 6 and then 1 more, but you pull all the way through. So you really have 6 chains, but you created 7 and then just pulled the tail through. Now, you need both of these, 2 of them, because they're antennas. And when you create them like this, they actually curl, they naturally curl. So when you put them into your little Winnie's face, you get these cute little curly antennas that you can play with if you like that sort of thing, like me. So you're making 2 of these, and then just set those aside, and we're going to do the seeds next. So cute. Now with the seeds, you want to have them look like they're sort of random and going in different directions. So yeah, I'm just using the milk cotton yarn again that I use for the little mouth. You can use the chenille or whatever other yarn you're using. This is just one that I like to work with. It's easy to thread in the needle, and yeah, it's just easy to work with. So cut yourself a length of the black yarn and bring it from the inside out to a spot where you think you'd like a seed to be. Find a direction of the stitch that you can go over, so it could be in any direction, but there's usually little directions that you'll see once you bring the needle through that it likes to sit. So for this particular yarn, I'm using 3 layers, but you may only need to use 1, you may need to use 5 or 6. Just depends on the yarn that you're using. So when you're finished getting it to the right thickness that you like, bring it through to the back, tie a knot or 3, and trim that off, and keep going until you've done as many seeds in as many places as you like. Obviously only on the red section of the fleshy section of the watermelon, but it's up to you how many, how few or how many you want on there. So do that little bit, and then we're going to pop the antennas into place. So Winnie is looking seedy, seeded, sun-kissed, I don't know, very cute. Time to put the antennas on. Now I have placed on the little one 7 rows up and about 6 stitches apart, but it's completely up to you where you want to put the placement of your antennas or whether you want them or not want them on there. That's just a spot that I think that makes the face kind of like little and cute. So it's just a matter of playing around and making sure that you're happy with where they sit. And the curl of the antenna is to curl sort of under. So you've got 2 tails on each of your antennas, and you want to pull those through about a stitch apart. And like I said, on mine I'm doing round 7. And then you'll tie it off on the back. 1, 2 or 3 knots maybe, and then trim that off and they'll be secured into place. Just check that position, make sure you're happy with it. Everything looks a bit like it's central. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, time to tie it into place. One, 2, 3 knots and trim. Now seriously, does it get any cuter than that? On to rounds 20 and 21. In the light green, single crochet all the way around, giving you 60 stitches. Then change your yarn over to the dark green yarn. Rounds 22, 23 and 24 are all single crochet around, giving you 60 stitches. And rounds 25 and 26 in the light green are single crochet all the way around again, giving you 60 stitches. And you can see that Winnie's starting to really take shape now. And back onto the dark green, we've got rounds 27, 28 and 29 are all single crochet around, giving you 60 stitches. And you can see just how close we are to starting those decreasing rounds of that light green, dark green, light green, black. Pretty close, so stay with me. So round 30 is single crochet all the way around again, giving you 60 stitches. And it's in the light green, and we're going to be doing 2 rounds of light green, but the second one is a decreasing round. So just do single crochet around this one, and I'll talk you through round 31 in a minute. Now round 31 is 8 single crochet and 1 decrease, and we do that 6 times round to give us 54 stitches. I'm going to show you just how to do a decrease. It's an invisible decrease. So just watch here. I'm going to slip my crochet hook under the front of the front loop of 2 stitches. Okay, so we're going to put our hook under that front loop, then under the next front loop. So I've done our 8 single crochets. This is the decrease, or the invisible decrease. So the loop back onto our hook, just picking up that front loop and then the front loop of the very next stitch, yarn over and just pulling it through those 2 loops that we have on our hook. Now that way what we've done is we've actually made 2 stitches into one, so we've decreased, but we've done it in such a way with the invisible decrease that it makes it almost impossible, not impossible, very difficult to see how we've done that. So it's not obvious on the finished bee. So here we go again, picking up those very front loops, the 2 stitches, yarn over, pulling it through, yarn over, pulling through the 2 loops that we have on our hook. Now don't forget, if there's anything that I'm doing too that is too fast for you to really catch on to, especially when it comes to the wings are a little bit tricky. YouTube has that feature that you can actually slow down any of the video footage, which is really helpful. Now we're back onto the dark green yarn, round 32, which is 7 single crochet, 1 decrease, 6 times round. We're repeating that, and it gives you 48 stitches at the end of round 32. And onto round 33. That is 6 single crochets, 1 decrease, pattern of 6 times round, giving you 42 stitches. And now we're on to round 34, which is 5 single crochets, 1 decrease. We're repeating that 6 times round, which gives you 36 stitches. And we are really close to finishing this cute bee. Winnie hasn't got much more to go, just that sort of stinger area and the wings, and we're just about there. Round 35, 4 single crochets, 1 decrease, 6 times round, giving you 30 stitches. And now you finish that round, it's the perfect time to fill our bee with some lovin' stun. Yes, get your polyfill out. And I just want to let you know too, if you are doing one of these sort of chenille velour type bees or using a chunky yarn, your bee will take a lot of stuffing. So a lot of loving as well, but a lot of stuffing. So just make sure you got enough to fill your bee, because it's very easy to underestimate just how much fibre fill you need for these big plush. So fill him up with lovin'. And I had a lovely surprise about now, which is when Piglet the Wise, decided to come and say hello. Hi, Piglet. Now for this part of the tutorial, I chose to use footage of a different bee simply because the black was just too hard to film and be able to see what had to be done. And I didn't want you to be confused, so I chose to use my Ziggy design, which is a new design that I'm going to be releasing soon. So you will see red. I don't want you to see red. I want you to see pale green. And you'll see blue, but I want you to use black. So I'll just put a little reminder on the screen there so that you remember that you've got to use not red, but pale green for this bit. So for round 36, 3 single crochets and a decrease, times 6 times round, giving you 24 stitches, but you're using pale green yarn, please. I hope this doesn't confuse you, but I really just couldn't show that footage with the black. You would have not been able to follow it, I don't think. So please bear with me. Round 37 in the pale green as well is 2 single crochet and a decrease, 6 times round, giving you 18 stitches. And thank you, my little Ziggy bee, for being my my model for today. Very cute little bee that's coming up. I've actually got quite a few really fun designs you're going to love. I think you're going to love anyway. Got a s'mores bee, a hamburger bee. What else we got? Oh, we've got a gay pride bee, Priscilla, very cute. So quite a few. I don't want to tell you all of them because I want to surprise you. So just keep an eye out for those. So we're changing over now to our black yarn, not blue. As you can see here, you're going to be using black yarn for this stinger. And round 38 is 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, 6 times round, giving you 12 stitches. Black, 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 black. I'm flashing black, black. You can't see me, but I'm flashing black. Don't forget to use black yarn, please. So I guess now is a really good time to say to you, if you're new to my channel, I would love it dearly if you would comment and let me know what you would like me to make. Even just pop by and say hi, because I'd love to hear from you. Good to see you here. And also, if you found this video helpful or you like the pattern, please give me a thumbs up, because it really means the world to me to know that others appreciate my hard work. And I do it because I enjoy it, but I would really love to know whether other people enjoy it as well. So yeah, and consider subscribing too, because I'm really going to be bringing out a whole lot of fabulous free content. So if you like making stuff, if you like music, if you like pop culture, if you like free patterns, if you like giveaways, stay tuned, because there's going to be a lot more coming your way. And round 39 is our second round of black. And it's just single crochet all the way around, giving you 12 stitches. Round 40 is 6 decreases, giving you 6 stitches. Now, it's a little tricky, but I know you can do it, and I believe in you, okay? So don't let me down. I know you can do this. Just be patient. So 6, picking up those front loops. 6 times round. You've got this, okay? And time for a little bit more fibre fill, a little bit more polyfill. We can just stick a little bit more in there, just to make sure that his little stinger sits out. Then back to the stinger. We've got round 41, which is your 4th round of the black, I believe. It's just single crochet around, which is 6 little stitches. Again, pretty tricky, but I know you've got this one. And then we're going to cut off our yarn and stitch that little stinger closed and hide the tail. And if you're having trouble with any of the stitches that you've seen in this pattern so far, it could be the magic ring, or when we go to do the create the wings, which will be in a moment, we use a half double crochet and a double crochet. They're not tricky stitches by any means, but if you don't know them, it'd be something that you could do. Go and learn those first. I have got little mini tutorials on my channel just to teach you those stitches, which a lot of my patterns do include. So yeah, you'll find those on my channel, and hopefully they'll be helpful to you. Ziggy played guitar. Now onto the wings. I've already made 2 white wings using that blanket yarn. However, I didn't think it filmed very well for you to be able to follow, especially with a few complicated stitches. Well, not complicated, but not just single crochet. So I'm using this green milk cotton yarn just to show you the actual stitches. So it's a little clearer for you. But the wings are white, and I am just using the green just to show you with a clearer picture what to do. So we're creating a magic ring and putting 6 single crochets in that first round. This part's pretty straightforward, but as you'll see, there's only 4 rounds, but they do become a little bit more complex, and the white wasn't picking up, especially that chenille, that blanket chenille yarn, wasn't picking up the detail I needed. So bear with me, please. So again, we just tighten the magic ring a little bit, but not too tight, just so we can do that magic transition into that back loop to do the join. And we're going to do a single crochet into that stitch, that's the very first stitch. And now we'll tighten that magic ring so the middle's nice and tight. So this pattern for round 2 is 2 single crochet increases. So I've just done 1 single crochet. We're going to do another one in that same stitch space. Then in the next stitch, we're going to do another 2 single crochets or an increase. 1 and 2. Then the next stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet increase. So that is wrapping your yarn around your hook, inserting it through the stitch space, picking up another, picking up that yarn, bringing it through, and taking the yarn all the way through the 3 loops that are on our hook. We'll do that again. This is a half double crochet in the same space, wrapping the yarn over the hook and bring it through all 3 of those loops on our hook. We're going to do another one of those into that next space, another half double crochet increase. through all 3, yarn over, into the stitch space, pick up the yarn, bring it back through, yarn over, through all 3 loops on our hook. Now we've got 2 single crochet increases. That's 2 single crochets in the 1 stitch space, and then along to the next stitch space, sorry about that, and we're doing 2 single crochets into that stitch space. And now we'll be doing that transition, magic transition, onto the back of that back loop, and we're ready to start round 3. Now we'll go through pretty slowly through round 3. We're going to start with a single crochet, okay, we go a single crochet into the first stitch space. Now we're going to do 2 single crochet into that next stitch space, then 1 single crochet, then 2 into the next stitch space. Okay, now we're going to do a half double crochet, just a single. So half double crochet into that 1 space, all 3 loops. Then we're going to do a half double crochet increase, or it's just 2 half double crochets in that stitch space. 1 and 2. Do the same again, 2 half double crochets in the next stitch space. 1 and 2. Then 1 half double crochet, then a single crochet increase, that's 2 single crochets in the 1 stitch space, a single crochet, another single crochet increase, that's 2, 1 and 2, and then a single crochet. And then we'll do that magic transition join, and that's the end of round 3. Now again, I just wanted to remind you that if I'm going too fast for you, don't forget that in YouTube you can slow down the video and watch it in a much slower replay, so that you can make sure that you're following those stitches if it's a little bit more, a bit confusing for you. You can really see the wings start to take shape now. So with round 4, we've already done our first single crochet. We've got 1 more to do. So that's our second one. Then we're going to increase, so 2 single crochets in this stitch space. 1, 2, then 2 single crochets. And then a single crochet increase, so 2 in the same space. 1 and 2, then a half double crochet, so that's the yarn over the hook, and through, picking up a yarn again, picking up yarn again, and through all 3 loops on your hook. Now we're going to do that twice in the next stitch space, so that's 2 half double crochets in that 1 stitch space. Then we're going to do 2 double crochet, so almost the same as a half double crochet. We put the yarn over the hook, put it through into that stitch space, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, but we're only going to pull it through the first 2 loops on our hook, and then yarn over again and through the remaining 2 loops on the hook. So we'll do the same stitch again, which is a double crochet into the next stitch space, yarn over and through those first 2 loops, yarn over and the last 2 loops. Okay, then we've got a half double crochet increase, so that's 2 half double crochets in the 1 space, then a half double crochet, then we've got 2 single crochets into this space, a single crochet, a single crochet increase, that's 2 in the one space, 1 and 2, and then a single crochet and a single crochet. And now we can slip stitch to that very first stitch that we created, and we've created our wing. It was a little bit tricky, but by following that pattern you get a really nice wing shape. Plus the wing can either be concave or convex, depends on whether you want the wings to sort of face down or sit up. Like they, especially if you're using a firmer yarn, they sit up like little cups. They're very, very cute. So it's a bit tricky, but I think worth it. So you want to make 2 of these in white. Remember, we're not doing green, we're doing white. I'm just going to hide the starting tail that we had to create our magic ring. So you can use a darning needle, or I'm just using my crochet hook to weave it through the stitches, just to pull back through that middle tail and hide it. And use those tails to sew the wing into place. And I like to position the wing on the second pale green stripe from the very front of the bee, a little Winnie's face. So, and not touching, but kind of close. You can see here quite clearly that it's just a little bit of the watermelon stripe showing through there. You can see how the wings curve up. They're really quite cute, especially on that smaller bee. So I have sewn them onto the bee, onto my large Winnie. Unfortunately, I lost my video footage, so please forgive me. And I'm sure it's not hard for you to do this, but all you have to do is thread your darning needle with those tails on the little wing and sew them on in that sort of placement that you can see there on the little Winnie. And I'm sorry I lost that footage. I was very disappointed. But look, super cute, super soft. I think Winnie's a winner. And I do think Winnie's a winner. Winnie is just adorable. And I have to ask my little dog Piglet, as always, Piglet, what do you think about Winnie? Let's see what Piglet thinks. Yep, Piglet loves Winnie. Woo! Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful or fun or something great. If you did, please give me a like, and also think about commenting, because I'd love to hear what your ideas are on what I can create next. Any bee themed ideas, I'd love to hear from you. And also consider subscribing if you like music and pop culture and making fun craft. I've got plenty of content coming your way, so think of subscribing. And meanwhile, I want you all to have an awesome day and stay awesome. Bye.